Steiner is a grassroots activist and organizer who fights the privatization of public institutions and public goods. She was very involved with Occupy LA, started and ran Los Angeles for Bernie Sanders, and was a delegate for him at the Democratic National Convention.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank the organizers for having me here with such an illustrious group of speakers. I think it's no accident that three of us were delegates for Bernie Sanders, who happens to be one old white guy who has called for free public college and universities. And after we demand that Jerry Brown sign this bill, we're going to demand that he support free public college and universities, and that we only support candidates for governor, like the one I'm supporting, Michael Bracamontes, who supports free public college and universities. So I'm here to talk about another way that they're going after education, not just through student debt, but through privatizing public education. Oh! Now, we know that privatization is bad because when you privatize prisons, it leads to more mass incarceration. Oh! When you privatize healthcare, it leads to insurance companies denying claims. When you privatize water systems, it increases the rates for water, and they don't do the testing and the sanitization because it's too expensive. You need to keep public goods and services in the public sector. Now, we have a guy in Los Angeles, a billionaire by the name of Eli Broad, who I have dubbed the Betsy DeVos of Los Angeles because he is trying to privatize education with his plan to take 50% of LAUSD schools charter in the next few years. And how they're doing it is they're using our own language against us, language of the civil rights movement. They're talking about choice. They're talking about our rights. When in fact, and they're trying to tell us that public schools are failing. But public schools are not failing in Beverly Hills. They're not failing in San Marino. They're not failing in Palos Verdes. They're failing in the inner city, and it's not because of public schools, and it's not because of unionized teachers. It's because of poverty. And that's what we need to be addressing. Yes! Charter schools do not, and it doesn't matter if they're for-profit or not. That's a misnomer. As long as they are privately managed, they are bad. Charter schools do not have to hire unionized teachers. They can hire Teach for America teachers who may be very smart graduates of Ivy League schools, but they've only had 5 weeks of training in the summer before they're put into a classroom. Charter schools don't have to have educators on their board. In fact, many of them have wealthy real estate developers like Eli Broad. And these wealthy real estate developers don't care about the kids. They fund charter schools because they get a 39% tax credit if those charter schools are still standing after 7 years. So that's what's in it for them. Charter schools can cream off students. By that I mean special ed students, kids with behavioral problems, English language learners. They can cream them off back into the public schools, but they keep the money. And that's how they defund public education, because in our state, the money goes with the student. So if the student goes to a charter school, the public school loses the money. And if 50% of LAUSDs go charter, it's going to bankrupt public education. Many of them are very rigid. You have to sit with your hands on your desk in a certain way. You can raise your hand and ask a question in a certain way. You can walk down the halls in a certain way. And what these schools are trying to make is obedient workers for the capitalist system, not critical thinkers who challenge authority. So they are doing this through charter schools. They're doing this through co-location, where they can put a charter school in a public school if they have empty classrooms, but they count a broom closet as an empty classroom. They count a cafeteria, not during lunch hour, as an empty classroom. So at a protest I covered at the Wadsworth Avenue Elementary School, they let in a charter school whose director is being investigated for embezzlement, The local school board denied it, but they went up to the state, and the state allowed them in. And now they have to have 5 lunch periods because there are so many students. They have to lose their computer lab because there are so many students. And they have essentially a separate but unequal system where the charter school kids may have only 24 kids in a classroom and a laptop on every desk. And someone once asked me, how can you deny a poor African-American mother from South LA the opportunity to send their kid to a charter school if there's only 24 kids in a classroom and a laptop on every desk? And I said, that's the wrong question. The question should be, why doesn't every public school have 24? So now they have 3-2 control of the LAUSD school board. We got to take that back. The current president, Rep. Rodriguez, is being indicted for ethics violations. He's resigned his presidency, but we have to demand that he resign off the school board. And what our demand is, we want full funding of public schools. We want to make public school, all charters, accountable to an elected school board, and we need to get involved. It's not just voting every 4 years. It's holding these elected officials accountable. And we have to start by calling Jerry Brown and demanding that he sign AB 19. And if his voicemail is full, post on his Facebook page, tweet to him, do whatever you can, send him a fax, get a hold of him. This is just the first step. Thank you.